The U.S. core CPI surges to 40-year highs. Food and shelter costs soar. The inflation numbers are not good. Service inflation continues to rise as goods inflation slow. Food and shelter is kind of way up. Let me take you through some of these. Food inflation is extremely high. We are looking at between 13 and 14% food inflation. Shelter inflation is up almost 7% and the highest on record. Rent inflation up 7.21%, the highest on record. We're in trouble, and the thing that should have happened long ago is raising the interest rates. But our Fed and our Treasury and our president, who is still in denial, is said to us, no, there's not going to be inflation. Don't worry about it. Well, here we are, and to get ourselves out of this is going to be a real trick.
Is there a way out of this? I feel like when I talk to you, I feel as if there isn't a way out of this. Which is, by the way, in case anyone's interested, this is what it's like working with Glenn Beck every day. You just come in and like, hey, something great happened at home. My kid got a great score on his test, and then you come in and you just want to kill yourself. That's life.
So here is the problem. Do you want the weather answer? Okay.
I guess when I'm here, I want the real answer.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just preface it with this. This used to be something where I'd say, I think this is coming, okay? Mm-hmm. We're in the place now where it's all math, and so it is coming, all right? And you're starting to enter the zone of death spiral. We're not there yet. I believe England is just beginning its death spiral. Europe will go first, okay? And then it will be us. But we're in this spiral. Let me start with England. England, just a few weeks ago, all their retirement funds crashed, okay? And the retirement funds had invested, see if any of this sounds like 2008, had invested in things that were risky, but were marked stable, okay? These things will never go down,
right?
Okay? So as they started to go down, margin calls came in. And, it's like if you own a house and you've borrowed money on the house, okay, and to buy something else, your house goes down, the bank calls and says, wait a minute, you have a second mortgage here, and your house is not worth what it was. We need you to put more money down for that second mortgage, okay? That's a margin call. Mm-hmm. So the margin calls came in, and nobody had the money. It was like, wait, but those weren't supposed to go down. So what do? Bank of England, which was saying we're going to stop printing money, we're going to stop doing all this thing, they had to either let all of their retirement funds collapse, so they'll learn their lesson, or we'll just print more money. They chose print more money. Here's the problem with the situation that is happening in England and all around the world. Two things. One, England was talking about tax cuts. Okay, well, they were scheduled anyway. I mean, it was not this big tax cut thing.
It's totally overblown.
Totally overblown. However, that was symptomatic of the problem that we're facing here. The government and the central banks are fighting each other. I think they're in on it together, quite honestly, but they're doing the opposite things. By having tax cuts and not lowering the spending of the government, two things happen. You're taking the spending that the government is already just pouring out, way too much money, okay? And then you're adding money and you're putting it in like fuel injection right to the cylinders. And so you're getting that engine to fire up even hotter because they're giving it right to you. So you go out and spend it. That makes inflation go up. Same time, the central banks are saying, no, we've got to raise interest rates to bring inflation down and suck up that money. Well, you're working against each other. So it's broken. It won't work. Okay. The other thing that is happening is it can't work anymore because everything, especially energy, is priced in dollars. So all of these countries in Europe have to buy more dollars because energy is going up. So they sell our treasuries to get more dollars. But as they buy more physical dollars, the dollar goes up and they're inflating their money. So their money,
new money to get these dollars.
Their money goes down, ours goes up, which means they have to print more to get our dollar to go up or sell more treasuries. That all of that is bad because it's just a spiral, goes out of control.
Right.
Here in America, we have the same thing. What is the main? Inflation has been happening since 2010. Okay. And it was out of control inflation, but nobody noticed it. The answer is, where was inflation? Do you know?
I mean, the stock market?
Stock market.
Right.
Exactly right. Mm-hmm. Stock market doubled in price. And everybody was like, how is this? And all the experts were like, oh, no, you got some really good fundamentals happening. No, you didn't. You had the Treasury and the Fed dumping money into these giant corporations, which were investing back in themselves. That was inflation because you weren't getting bailed out. They were. Constant flow of that money to the elite. They put it in the stock market, which made all of the stocks go up. That was inflation. But you notice we didn't pay the inflation prices at the supermarket because we weren't getting bailed out. And we didn't have a disruption in the supply chain. Now you've hit with both. Now they've dumped trillions of dollars into the market with regular people. They went out and spent it at a time where production is at an all-time low. Too much money, way too much money, and way too few goods. So now inflation is up. What is the government doing? Well, Social Security today. What is the increase in Social Security?
8.7% is the cost of living increase, the highest since 1981.
Yeah. So what is that going to do?
I mean, it's already one of our biggest expenses.
Correct. So we're going to have to borrow more money to pay for that.
And all of those scary scenarios about Social Security were all based on scenarios where there weren't high cost of living increases.
Exactly right.
They were as low as they've been for years and years and years and years. Those rates are never going up, as you know, Glenn. So now that they have, and now it's 8.7%, that's going to blow up all of those assumptions.
All those assumptions.
That we had that were already terrible.
Brings up our national debt. We have to pay higher interest rate on that, which then also the government is going to get that debt funded by the Fed. So they'll print more money for every retiree, and that number is going to go through the roof here soon. For every retiree, you're going up almost 10%. So that means 10% more for everybody having Social Security. Where's the money coming from? So you're in a death spiral. And if the Fed raises the interest rates any higher, I mean, it could be criminal. It could be criminal.
Oh, but they are going to do it.
They can't do it.
But they've been saying they're going to do it for months.
Right. And if they do, they're only going to hasten the end.
But what about, their argument would be inflation's out of control, which, by the way, the new numbers, as you point out, only extend that narrative. This has not worked so far.
Do you remember when I said, 15 years ago, you have to control this now because the Fed will be out of bullets. They won't be able to raise the interest rates high enough to control inflation. And to pay for everything, we're going to have to print more money. That time is no longer theoretical. It's now. Okay? And we are at the beginning of this.
But interest rates have been much higher in the past.
Yeah, but you had labor. We don't have labor. Okay? We had labor. We had product. We could sell things. We have a problem of not just too much money. We have too few goods. Okay? You can't buy the things you want. Have you ever lived in a time in America where it's been like this, where you go to a store and you just can't get it?
I mean, you're describing some country where you order a car in August 2021 and it's not delivered by October 2022.
Yes.
That's a crazy world. I can't imagine
world.
A country like that.
Correct. So like car inflation. Why is car inflation? Because it's not only of regular inflation, it's because the product doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So it's just driving the prices up. So you have both of those things. Back when you could raise interest rates to 19%, you still had a healthy supply chain. You still had, people that would work. We have people that won't work now. We have plenty of jobs. It's like 1.6 jobs for every person that's willing to work. That's a lot of jobs that we could still fill, but people won't work. So you not only have the supply chain because you can't get the materials, you can't get the people to assemble it. And then because of that, the price goes up because there's just no access to them. So here's the price level. Then what do you have? Then you have people not being able to afford it. So they need to get a bailout from the government, which prints more money. And then the government's going to come in and say price controls. We have to push that price back down. But then you put everybody out of work because companies can't afford to make them. There's a reason the price is going up. It's like gas. Oh, they're ripping people off. No. You're doing everything you can to destroy oil and the market. So, of course, the price is going to go up. You want the price to go down? Take all of these restrictions away. So you're in this impossible spiral. I'm telling you, I don't think it's going to be, I don't think there's a way out. I've talked to a lot of people. I think we're in this spiral now. There's a way to slow it down, but there's not a way to stop it. It's going to have to crash. We are going to pay. I've said this for years. There's going to come a time you're going to have to pay the bill. I don't know how it ends. It's going to end in some sort of economic reset. And I worry with the kind of reset that everybody is talking about. But you have to do the responsible thing. I want you to know how important you as an individual are. You are listening to this. You're doing the hard work now. Most people don't want to know this stuff. They don't want to know it. Oh, there's nothing I can do. Yes, there is. Information is power. Book of Revelation, did God give that to us to freak us out? Because I don't know about you. It's kind of scary. He gave you the information, so when you see these things happening, you're not freaked out. Because everybody else is going to go, what the hell is going on? And you will be calm enough to say, I know what's going on. Don't go that way. Go this way. We have to rely on each other. I'm convinced that this audience saves everything in some form or another. There's a reason we're together. And honestly, it is an honor to serve you and to help you. I'm doing my part. Your part is to listen, and then at some point, you're going to have to take it. That's coming. It's coming.